Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host, Brett
Gilliland. Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Circuit of Success. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland, and today I've got Michelle Beisner-Buck. How are we doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
How was Paris?
I mean, Paris can never be bad. Paris is
Never been.
my favorite city.
Favorite city in the world?
I think so. I mean, I haven't visited all the cities in the world, Brett, but of all the cities that I have visited, that is my favorite. It's a trip that Joe and I, my husband Joe, we do every year. We usually do it right when our football season ends. So we usually go in February where it's cold and it's rainy, but we don't care because it's kind of romantic and, you know. But this year we went in May just because of a lot of reasons. Yeah. And the weather was perfect and it wasn't crowded. It was awesome. It was beautiful. Whenever you go, let me know.
Okay.
I'll set you up.
You'll give us our itinerary?
Yes, I will.
I love it.
I think if I wasn't in the line of work that I do and I didn't have the career that I have, I would have been some sort of a travel agent or something.
Maybe that's your next job.
Maybe. You never know.
Maybe. Well, you are Michelle Beisner-Buck. You are ESPN's lead feature reporter for Monday Night Countdown since 2014, I believe.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm the longest tenured member on that show because there have been so many different iterations on that show.
Yes.
And the only female on that show. I know.
Clapping.
I mean, can we do that?
We're clapping.
I think we should.
We're
should,
clapping.
right?
I'm clapping. You're clapping. I'm clapping.
I will pat my own back for that.
The boring question, it's kind of a big question, but I always ask, it's what's made you the woman you are today?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
Has anyone ever said to you, like, I don't know, next?
Yeah, no, you can.
No, I would never. What's made me, I think, obviously, just the experiences that you go through. I'm not someone that comes from money or anyone that was actually even in this line of work. I guess the closest thing, my uncle was kind of the local sports guy in Minneapolis, and I gravitated towards him a bit. But I have always, since I was a little girl, just been very driven, been very independent, had a very, very strong love for sports and entertainment. I was a dancer growing up and a gymnast. But we as a family were huge sports fans and had season tickets, the very, very
What town was this again? I'm sorry.
Denver. So I grew up in Colorado.
Okay, yep.
Yes. Big Broncos fans.
Yeah.
I mean, the best years, Orange Crush and that's kind of the games that we went to. But when I turned 18-ish, I decided that I wanted to combine my love for dance and for sports, specifically the NFL, and try to be an NFL cheerleader. So I actually auditioned to be a Broncos cheerleader when I was 19. I did not make it the first year that I auditioned. I made it to the finals, but I did not make the team. But the next year I did. And it was like my first year was 1997. So you want to talk about like the best years as like to be a part of that organization with back-to-back Super Bowls and Elway and Davis and McCaffrey and Sharp and the whole group was it was so incredible.
Awesome.
So I think that the experience that I went through, I think my mother, I think my parents, both, God rest their souls, they both passed away the last 2 years.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It's been a lot. But they both shaped my life in much different ways.
Yeah.
My mom was always the person that told me I could do anything that I wanted. And I think that my dad kind of drove me to prove everyone wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's left in the tank, right?
Right. Yeah. So I'm fortunate.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's always family. The answer is always family.
It is.
For the right person.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's
good or bad. I think it just builds your character.
Yeah.
It
right.
shapes kind of your path.
Yeah, you're right. I wrote down this for my first kind of question after the question is when I was thinking about your career, doing my research, is reliability and grit, right? I think, and you said it earlier, you're the only woman on the broadcast team, right? Like, so reliability, we got to show up, we got to freaking be there, even when we don't want to be there. And grit, you got to put up with a lot of stuff, right? A lot of crap, especially being the woman in that all-male dominant sport. So when you hear those two words, reliability and grit, what comes to mind for you?
Well, I think since I was a young girl, I've always prided myself on being reliable to anyone and everyone around me. I've always had a very responsible kind of nature about me, and if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it and give my all. I think reliability is also, especially in this business, being like a consummate good team player.
Yep.
Although I know plenty of people in this business that have been in the business for years and that are kind of assholes, and they still somehow thrive in this business, and it blows my mind. But I pride myself on those two things. I think reliability, though, I'm veering a little bit, but it'll make sense. I think when you also think about reliability, you have to think about just the reliability in yourself, because especially as a woman in this business, you're not guaranteed that. It is a little bit different. And grit, to your point, I mean, my first big network job was really kind of in like the real thick of the good old boys club. It was before the Me Too stuff, but so many things I heard and experienced, and you have to have kind of grit to get through all that, and the reliability in yourself to push through that.
Yep.
So yeah, I
And the crappy part of that, though, is like you just kind of had to turn the page on that because you wanted to keep climbing the ranks.
But I think it's just not. I just don't think everyone can do that. I think that
that's my point. Yeah.
Right. Yes, which is interesting because it does affect you years down the road.
Right.
I remember when Joe and I were watching the morning show. Did you watch that show?
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
So the last episode of season 1,
Yep.
when it's really revealed, kind of the Matt Lauer moment of that show, I had such like a physical reaction to it.
Wow.
Of just all this shit that I had been just pressing down, and it all came out in such an emotional way of such like vulnerability, and I mean just sobbing. And Joe turned to me and he said, I guess I just don't, because he's never had,
Sure.
He deals with a whole different set of stuff, but he will never really get what it's like, I guess, to kind of grow up. I'm old, right? I've been in this business for like 25 years.
Yeah.
And when you start your career kind of in the thick of that, you've got to have really tough skin.
Yeah.
You've got to have really thick skin and a tough exterior and the ability to like build your own walls and just push through. And that, that goes back to, I think, family and how...
That's what I was going to say. What was your out there? Like to get that off your chest? Was it a parent? Was it friends? What was that?
What do you mean?
Like getting it, I mean, if you dealt with it, like if you keep it in, maybe you did. Maybe you just kept it in.
Right.
That's why you lost it on the morning show. But was there an outlet for you to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, there were plenty of people. I'm not special. There were plenty of coworkers and female talent that we all dealt with it. We all have similar stories from similar people. And I think that we leaned on each other. And my mom was, I mean, I could tell her anything. She was my best friend, and so she really helped me through any of that. It was always my biggest cheerleader, pun intended, just to kind of say, you're okay. Like, you are bigger and better, and you're beyond all of it. Like, push through. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's... I also know some people that are great talents, and they went through some things, and it was like they couldn't get through it, and I get that
like
too.
A cheap shirt, right?
Yeah, you know.
What do you think got you ready for not that stuff, but just, I mean, you're in the limelight. You got a big job and all those things. Like, what, from cheerleading to ESPN to now where you're at ESPN, like what got you ready from that?
Well, I was always a dancer growing up. I always felt really good. Just an example and something that I can easily reference now. I have 7-year-old twin boys, and one of them is very much into sports, and the other one is a performer. Feels much more comfortable on a stage than he does anywhere else, and that is how I felt. So it was very natural to me, and I really like to get to know people and their stories and what's behind it. And I'm would consider myself very empathetic and open and patient and understanding and wanting to like peel back the layers so that, because knowledge is power, like just what you're doing, this is like so incredible. And so you're the same way. And I think that I just always felt so much better in front of people. When I was 21 or so, I was the entertainment MC for the Denver Nuggets, for the Colorado Avalanche, the Colorado Mammoths. So I was the girl with a microphone.
Running around the crowd and all that stuff.
Running around the crowd, like doing, half court, shots. And that was never intimidating to me, ever.
Loved it.
But if sitting in front of someone just one-on-one, not in an interview, like that could be more intimidating.
Yeah.
It just always felt very natural. I feel very at ease in that space. So I went through a lot. I was at NFL Network from 2006 until I went over to ESPN.
Okay.
And I went through a lot of different, I'm so grateful for that experience. It gave me a lot of tools in my tool belt. I truly was like a utility player for them. I did everything from news shifts, overnight news shifts, AM news shifts, to hosting fantasy football shows, to being a field reporter. And thank God, because it gave me such great tools. But I do think that where I am now is exactly where I'm supposed to be, with doing long format feature stories and interviews with players and coaches.
And we're on one of those right now. Obviously, I'm not going to do near as good a job as you do, but what do you love about that? Like, what makes you passionate about that?
Well, I just think, especially like for athletes, football players specifically, they wear a helmet and you don't get to really get to know the person behind the helmet. So that's what we get to do. We get to humanize these players.
I like that.
And it's something that's a little bit different than maybe any other sport. Golf, basketball, baseball, soccer. This is unique in that way. So if I'm doing an interview with anyone, CJ Stroud, let's just say, and he says, "Oh, I love chocolate ice cream," and some little kid watching is like, "Oh my God, I love chocolate ice cream too. CJ Stroud is my new favorite player." Or if, we will do fun stories. I remember doing a story with Brian Arakpo. He loved baking cupcakes. Like that was his passion. So we did like this whole segment about, and we baked, and it was awesome. And then you do much more serious features, but you get to know someone.
Yep.
And if you're lucky enough, because if you're smart enough and you just listen to what they're saying, then they will actually tell you who they are. And that, to me, if somebody can feel comfortable enough with you in front of you to tell you who they are, that's the biggest gift and the most gratifying feeling.
Yeah.
It's much more gratifying, and I did it for so many years, so I can just say this. It's much more gratifying than doing a 60-second hit every hour at the top of the hour from 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. on a Sunday.
Here's what happened.
Although I love that too. But this is just different.
Yeah. I think about it from our wealth management firm. That's my normal day job. And obviously we're not on TV doing it, but we're talking to a client in the office, and I would say it's like Pandora's box, and I've got a key, and if we can get that thing to open up, and they're like, tear up, and they're like, more about me than anybody in our family. Like, that's a true wealth management person, right? That's your family. That's your guy. And that's what I think I like about this too, is that I can sit down with somebody like you and share with the world to help the world become a better place, right? That's what you're trying to do through football, right?
Yeah, I just think that's what you're trying to do through what you're doing too.
Yeah.
I mean, you want people to know people.
Yeah.
And sadly, especially now with social media and just the way that the world is, it's different. And it has its challenges, I mean, there was a time not too long ago when the thought of a viewer being able to sit and watch a 4-minute feature, it wouldn't work. Like, the attention span, it's not going to be there. And I think that we've done a really good job to like adjust to moving the features along in production in different ways. Yep. That's not so much of a threat anymore. But I just think that storytelling is so important. And getting to know someone is so important because if you don't take the time, then you can't understand.
Yep.
If you can't understand, then we find ourselves in a real shit situation.
Yeah. I call it my weekly therapy.
Yeah, well, no doubt.
Right?
So good.
Yeah.
Cathartic, therapeutic, absolutely.
Talk to the mom, listen to this, which I'm proud of this. 40% of the people that listen to this show are women, 60% are men,
Nice.
which I think is cool. So talk to the mom out there that is grinding, working, whether that's at home, whether that's at a job, whether that's whatever, right? Maybe they're helping a parent, but they also want to do stuff for them. They want to do stuff for their family, and they want to be a great mom. Give them some advice. What do you think?
To be able to compartmentalize and to be able to, I think that's it.
I can't speak for Joe, but I mean, at the end of the day, my wife runs the house, right? Like, worrying about the kids, and you worry about this, and probably worry about what I'm doing, right? Like, meaning where is he going to be there? Like, do the stuff, and so I think you hold it more than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. Well, I'm a naturally gifted Type A, slightly OCD person, and I think that, thank God for that. I don't know that if I was the other way, my life would be a mess. But I think it serves our family well because there's so many moving parts and so much going on. I don't know that I can give any parent or any mother any advice, only because I am not an expert by any means in this area. I think every parent and every mother is just trying to do the absolute best that they can do day to day. And I think that ebbs and flows, and there's no real, like, this is how you do it formula. I do think it's important, though, for women, no matter what, to have something that they love. Whatever it is.
Right.
Yoga, golf, podcasting, writing, knitting, walking. But I think that there needs to be a part of your life that you hold just for you, to give you some personal joy.
Yep.
Because I think that parents, mothers, fathers, they stretch themselves so thin to make sure everybody else is taken care of. And at the end of the day, I mean, they're just running on empty.
Right.
My parents, recently passed, and I am the consummate caretaker. I take care of everybody and everything. This is like a self-inflicted wound. But I wouldn't have it any other way. But at the end of all of that, when my mother passed 7 months ago, and it was a long road, but I was her caretaker. She was in a skilled nursing facility, but I was there every day for hours at a time. And when I was not there, if I was traveling for work, I would fly someone in to be with her. And when that goes away, first of all, when I think losing your mother is different losing than anyone. I shouldn't say that. For me, it was.
Sure.
Losing my mother just hit different. But we were such, like, close friends.
Yeah.
But there's a component there where I didn't know what to do with my days, and I still sometimes am in that. I mean, I'm just like I'm still deep in the grieving process. But when you are the caretaker, and then all of a sudden you have a couple hours or whatnot, you're like, oh shit, what do I do? Yeah. All I knew was to get her meds refilled and talk to the nurses and go sit with her, and and so it's different now. But I think I'm learning it's so incredibly important for women and men to find what brings them personal joy, and not to feel bad about focusing on that for, I don't care if it's 20 minutes a day. Do something.
I find that it's funny you say that, and whether through the grieving process or you're a Type A hard charger, it's like, even for me, like something as silly as sitting in the sauna for 25 minutes, as much as I love it, there's the time where I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be doing this. Do you struggle with that at all? Yeah, I think, yes, but you push through that too. Yeah. I mean, you have to know that slowing down is also the smartest thing, instead of revving your engine, or you're going to overheat. And I've been so close to doing that a few times. Yep.
when this whole ankle situation, I don't know if you know about.
It's one of my questions to ask. Yeah.
Wonderful. There were so many people that said this is somehow in some way a blessing in disguise because it's forcing you to slow the fuck down,
right?
To just sit or stop.
Can we back up just a minute? We've not mentioned who, like, what happened and how this happened, but married to Joe Buck, also an announcer in the football deal. You guys work together.
He's kind of a big deal.
He's kind of a big deal.
I mean, he's okay.
He's a pretty good golfer too. But your broken ankle has something to do with the broken ankle. So tell us more about what happened.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to set the stage very well.
Sorry, Joe.
I know. We love you, Joe. We're not trying to pile on you. And I've never made him feel guilty about this, not once, because it was such a freak thing. We were in Cabo. We have a place in Cabo. It was last summer. We had a big, fun family trip over 4th of July. It was the last day of our vacation. He was actually supposed to leave the next day and go to Lake Tahoe for the ACC championship and tournament. And so we were out hitting balls. He was hitting, I was not, but I have a dance and gymnastics background, and I tend to, this predates Joe, but do headstands on the golf course.
Makes sense.
Wouldn't you? Yeah, it does. For good luck, for fun, whatever the case may be. I'm not stupid. I never put myself in the line of fire. This is hard to visualize. If the hole goes left to right, I was maybe 30 degrees to the left out of his, I don't know if it was his, we'll just say it was about 30 degrees this way. I was straight up.
So if you're watching, he's hitting this way. I'm Joe, and you're standing over here somewhere?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
No,
you'd be over here.
I'd be over there.
Okay.
Yes, but this way. A little bit further this way, yes.
Yep.
And so I don't know if that's right, but he fired off his driver, and the second that he fired off his driver, I went into the splits in my headstand. And it was, Brett, it was like God or the universe just guided this ball directly into my ankle bone, and my foot just went boom. And I've never experienced fight or flight before, like really truly, where the insides of your body feel like they're going to erupt, and you're sweating profusely and you're crying, but there's not really tears coming out, but you are hyperventilating and just losing your mind. It was the most unexplainable, excruciating pain that I've ever felt. Have you seen the movie Misery?
I'm not.
Oh, well, damn it.
I need to watch it then.
You do. There is a scene in Misery, viewers and Brett, that you have to watch. And once you see it, you will know. And that's what I feel like my foot looked like.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Kathy Bates, James Caan. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. So the good thing about where we have our place in Cabo is that there's a concierge doctor on staff. So we called immediately. They were over to our place within minutes. I got an IV in, but my foot was just ballooning, and we knew that something awful had just happened. We went to the hospital in Cabo, which, by the way, I highly recommend. It was
high-end hospitals in Cabo.
It was clean. It was efficient. It was empty. We were in and out of there in 2 hours. We got an MRI, X-rays, examined, diagnosed, wrapped, meds, boom, 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 boom. I mean, you do have to self-pay it. It's not super cheap, but it was incredible.
Yeah.
Fly home, go see the orthopedic surgeon, who's one of the surgeons for the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis City. He looks at my foot and says, literally, truly, I see these I see ankle injuries every day. I've never seen a break like this. It was a shatter and impact break down to my joint. And because it was so shattered, we couldn't do surgery. I had all these floating bones everywhere. So for 8 weeks, I had a hard cast on, but every week I had to go in, get the cast off, get new x-rays, make sure my bones were aligning. Once those were kind of aligned, then we had to address the other, like the cherry on top. The velocity of his drive so severely damaged my tibial and peroneal nerves that I had to do nerve compression surgery. And that, to this day, I have physical therapy tomorrow. Shout out Matthew Foster. He's incredible. But I am still dealing with the nerve pain. Nerve pain is a very slow-moving train. And I mean, I'll get there, but everyone from my orthosurgeon to my PT specialist that specializes in nerve injuries to my pain management doctor, like, this is like an 18-month recovery process.
Wow.
But it was just the freakiest, craziest thing ever.
Well, sorry, Joe, again, that was story was told. But the good news for his golf game is it probably was hit so hard because he hits it so far that's why it happened. Can we say that or not?
Sure, yeah, we can throw him that
just
bone.
A little
yeah.
right. It was just a little off to the right.
Exactly.
But to the point to that story is it made you slow down.
It forced me to slow down.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, though, at all. But it did. I mean, I didn't have any other choice.
Yeah.
But to kind of sit and be still, and my mom was still very, very sick and in the hospital and in and out of the hospital and in hospice. And I felt, you almost feel then helpless because, and also it's my right foot, so I couldn't drive.
Oh, yeah.
So it was interesting.
Yeah.
But it did teach me the importance of kind of taking that time
I like that.
to slow your ass down.
Got to find the good in something bad, don't we?
Yes, you do.
What about the roommate? I call it the roommate upstairs that we all have in our head between our two ears. That dangerous spot of thinking. It can be good. It can be bad.
Oh, like the negative self-talk?
Yeah, exactly. Negative self-talk. You're thinking. How is that for you on a daily basis? We all go in ebb and flow probably. But if you are in a negative self-defeating thinking stage, how do you get out of it and what do you do?
I have tried so hard to navigate and manage that. I have tried to sit and meditate. I'm not very good at. It's hard for, as much as I say you should slow your ass down. It's very difficult. And when those thoughts creep in, I usually talk to Joe or talk to like a friend that's in the business or somebody that I really trust. I think so I'm going through personal therapy right now, which I haven't done in a very, very long time, but I've had kind of so much loss over the last few years. And then combined with my ankle, and there's like a real, in fact, just yesterday I was in a session and Joe was like the first person that really made me feel safe. My dad, I longed for us to be closer than we were, although we had a really lovely relationship towards the end of his life, which I'm so grateful for. Mm-hmm. But I never really felt safe in any of my other relationships, and I've never really felt that safe in my career. I've had, I think with like anyone, if you get any sort of negative feedback from a boss or even on social media, like that shit creeps in your head when it shouldn't. And I mean, Joe will tell you because Joe gets a lot of like social media. He takes a lot of hits that way.
She does.
And it is not justified. It's silly, but you also have to realize where it's coming from. It's not coming from somebody that's trying, right, exactly. A blind man with thumbs, like a blind deaf man with thumbs. That's where it's all coming from. Or from jealousy or from just being an asshole.
Yep.
And so you have to kind of lean into the people that you trust and that you love and just try to get over it. But I'm really hard on myself. If I lead into a piece or if I do anything on air and there's a slight delay in what I'm trying to deliver, if it's not perfect, if the cadence is not what it should be, if I mess up a word or the pronunciation is not right, I really used to beat myself up about that, but that was also during a time when you had to be extraordinarily buttoned up. 2000, I used to do open wheel auto racing for the Champ Car World Series, which was so interesting how that happened. But from that to NFL Network, I mean, there was no room for mistakes, right? It's not like what television is today, where it's a lot more personality driven and you have the freedom to just talk. So I'm much better about doing that, just relaxing and being human. If you make a mistake, who cares? You're human. Like, it's not a big deal.
That's right.
But I think, especially in the business that I'm in, like there's just you feel like there's a standard that you have to live up to or exceed, which is silly.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I think too, once you realize, I think it's as we get older and more successful in our careers, but I remember as a young financial advisor, I would, this person was successful and I'd see them talk that way or dress that way. And it's like, well, I need to do that. And it's like, I think once I cut loose of like, who gives a shit and kind of the zero F's given on that stuff, it's like now I can move on. And I think that's actually helps. But I think it takes a little bit of time going through that before you're aware. Would you agree with that?
I think so. Well, I think the longer that you're in something, just like you with wealth management and me in a broadcasting career, the longer that you're in it, the more that you basically, you decide not to believe more so in yourself and not really care what other people say.
Yeah.
And even when you don't feel validated or valued or respected or included, because all that stuff happens too, there's also just at the end of the day, it's like, I have this job for a reason. I know what my beliefs are, what my morals are, like what my gold standard is, and that's all I can do is just that.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, like, you just gotta kind of let it go.
Right. I had a business coach.
It's a lot to carry, man.
It is. I had a business coach years ago, and he said, so Florida, what do you think of Florida? The Sunshine State, right? There's 335 days a year. There's sun. But if you went to Florida the first time and for a week and it rained every day, what would you think of Florida? You're like, well, this place sucks, right? And it's like, well, that can be like your life. You could have a week of rain, but at the end of the day, you're going to have 335 days of sunshine in a year. When are you going to start betting on yourself?
Right.
I'm like, whew.
Yes.
That hit me like a ton of bricks because I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because sometimes we focus on the bad thing. It didn't say it right. I didn't do this, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard to get over that.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but again, I think that comes with time, and that comes with enough, I guess, just life that you've been through to be able to get to that point where you can be okay with yourself and be more accepting of yourself.
Yeah. Still got to trust it. What would I find if we followed you around with our friend Jeff over here, which would be weird if we followed you around everywhere. We'd probably get in trouble. But if we did, what habits and rituals will we find that are no miss items for you?
Well, I mean, I love to work out, and I'm thankful in this recovery that I can get back to that. Even when I was in a cast, I was still in the gym with my trainer, shout out to Ryan Manzik, doing whatever I could. It's always been really important. I love yoga. I love dance. I'm not quite there yet, but I will be. I love the theater. I wouldn't call myself a foodie, but I love to dine out. I also love to cook. I think I'm trying to be a better reader. I'll let you know how that goes. I read so much for work, just clips and everything, but I don't sit and read.
What are you trying to read?
For pleasure. I'm trying to read The Silent Patient now.
Okay, I don't know that.
Yeah. I've been 60 pages in for about 600 days.
Yeah,
and I can't
just
quite
sits in the nightstand. Hey,
I can't quite get
tomorrow's
past
the
it.
day. I will start reading tomorrow.
Yes.
That's great. Talk to us about some funny times, maybe where you're on the air and it just totally goes off script, but you actually ended up learning something from that.
Well, this is a good example. It's when I was at NFL Network and I was doing a live report from Seattle, from Seahawks, I think it was training camp, and my co-host, or not co-host, but the host of NFL Total Access, Lindsay Rhodes, we were in a split screen. And again, even then, you had to be very buttoned up, and your reports had to be like 45 seconds, like on the dot. So I think I went like 47 seconds or something, which most people went about 50. And even if you did, that's like, it's your little leeway there. But we got done, and my producer on the back end said in my ear, he's like, okay, you're cut, you're good. So I didn't know that I was still in a split screen, but I'm like giving Lindsay high five, like thumbs ups, and yeah. And our producer's like, you're still on. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, that was a moment. And then I got just like kind of like praised for it. Like, well, that was really fun.
Well, because they saw you, right?
Well, yeah, and I'm like, it gave me it's like, maybe I should do a little bit more of that. Just be myself, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And not be so buttoned up. And it was nice because you just listen to what they're telling you to do, and you should. I mean, you still have to do that, but
Right.
you should allow yourself to be yourself
That's right.
a little bit more.
So true. Biggest risk that you've taken that you look back and say, man, that was a game changer of a risk, and I'm glad I took it.
Well, I moved to LA, and I'm very much, again, this is where my type A-ness comes in handy, I think, or so I thought. But it was 2000, it was like January, it was maybe right after New Year's. So it was like January 2nd, 2006. And I just knew I was going to either be kind of the local sports person in Denver, or I was going to go and pursue something bigger, or at least try it. So before I decided to move to LA, I had all of my ducks in a row. I had my marketing agent and my manager and my theater, because I knew that it was going to be sports or entertainment. I wanted to either be an entertainment host or I wanted to be in sports broadcasting. And my degree was in communications with an emphasis on journalism, with a minor in theater. So I knew what I was doing. So I moved. Back then Craigslist was a really big deal. And I kind of got rid of everything in my apartment, and I had arranged it so that I could just lease an apartment in West Hollywood during pilot season. So I could really kind of get my bearings and figure out where I wanted to live. I'd saved up, which to me was quite a bit of money, like $25,000, and I was 25, and so I drove out with a little like redheaded stepchild on the back of my car, which was a tiny little U-Haul with just my clothes and most precious little belongings in it, and two of my best friends, and we drove to LA. And we showed up so I got this apartment, and I gave the guy I think I had to give him $5,000 or whatever, and then he sent you a key. Like, that's how, like, I don't know, it's Craigslist. It made sense. And we showed up to West Hollywood and to the address, and we parked the car, and I walked up, and I'm looking for apartment number 3575. And there's no 3575, and I'm looking at the address, and we're at the right address, and this guy walks down the stairs, and I said, excuse me, do you know where apartment 3575 is? And he said, oh no, not you too. He said, yesterday 3 girls showed up also looking for this apartment. He's like, you got scammed. Oh no. And so we called this, the guy and his phone was obviously disconnected. We went to the police station, and they told us it was a landlord and tenant dispute. It was, so in that moment, man. I remember I found a place to live that was fully furnished, but you had to rent for 3 months. And they needed all the money up front. So I had to give $15,000. So I'm really now...
After just get taken.
Right. And I
Zero
remember
trust.
my friends like saying, you don't have to do this. You don't have to be out here. Like, you can go back to Denver and you'll have a great career.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm good. And I'm so glad that I stuck it out. It was a huge risk with great reward, but I bet on myself, and I was relying upon myself and my dreams and my goals, and I didn't stray from that, and it was good. And so at that time, I was a pit reporter for the Champ Car World Series, and I was doing I was auditioning for shitty little commercials, and then I got a meeting with NFL Network and started the fall of 2006 there. Yeah.
So you said a word or a phrase there, bet on yourself, that I love to say, because I think there's so many people that don't bet on themselves that are maybe holding themselves back. So what advice would you have there?
You have to, that is such like a level of like digging deep.
Yeah.
Or being the opposite person and just saying, well, fuck it, I'm just going to throw all my chips in,
right.
and having like that personality of like, well, I don't care if it doesn't work out, I'll figure it out. I'm not that way. Like, I just over-prepared, overly like set myself up for success, but I still had to bet on myself. When I got this interview at NFL Network, I mean, I had great contacts within the Broncos organization, which helped me get that interview. But, I remember this person saying, like, I can open the door for you, but you've got to keep yourself in it. And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously. I mean, this is my
jam.
This is my jam. And I think that that's a deeply personal, it's hard to do, but there's got to be some kind of belief within you.
Yep.
And it's tough to just like have that instantaneously without going through a lot. I think life experiences are so important, and failing is just a way to succeed up, you know. I have been turned down. I remember so many auditions that I went on. I remember one audition that I went on for, I think, the Yes Network in New York. And it was like a baseball something host. And I very stupidly, I think I was 20. And I very stupidly said, oh, his 300 era or whatever. And they're like, that's great. Audition is over. And I'm like, right. I mean, I know it's ERA or whatever, you know, and they're like, no, you're good. Like, we're good. And I remember then auditioning, you know, I mean, but I never said no to anything. I always said, yeah, I'll try it. And if it doesn't work out for me, well, that's another like tool in my tool belt.
And I think what's huge here is what I'm hearing is the constant yes, the betting on ourselves, whether it's LA, Denver, New York, right, Chicago, we're going where it's at. And I just always think of the business person that listens. A lot of business people listen, right? And it's like that they maybe just hold themselves back just one notch because they're afraid of that defeat.
I think it's either afraid of failure or afraid of success. Yeah. And I think both can exist in the same person. I think both can be true at the same time. But if you're not afraid to fail and you're also not afraid to succeed, then it'll be much easier for you to bet on yourself.
Yep. I just did a video on this about Plan B. I think I did a video on this. If not, I did it in my mind. A Plan B video, like a Plan B video, a Plan B. Like I've never had a Plan B.
Like the pill that you take when you think that you're pregnant?
Yeah, not that one. Not that one. But a Plan B of, I'm going to start this business, but my Plan B is this. I never had a Plan B because I always felt like if I had a Plan B and this one got tough, then it would just, we'll go back over it. I would default to the easy thing. Right?
Like you felt like it was your safety net.
Yeah. I don't want a safety net.
Well, so that's interesting. I wouldn't call it that. I would just call it, I think that I disagree. I think that's smart.
I like that.
I think it's good to have a backup plan, because if it's a smart backup plan, then you will be happy and successful in either one. If you can figure out, I think that you've got to be passionate about both things. It's like, I'm going to try to be on a national sports network, or I'm going to go work at Chili's. I don't think that those are the same things.
Right.
Although I was a server for many years, and I really think it's important for people to be servers.
My wife says all the time. She was Applebee's. We could have like an Applebee's Chili's contest between the two of you.
Yeah, we could. I worked at a steakhouse in Denver for many years, and I think it's so important to do that. It teaches you so much about people, so much about the importance of being respectful and understanding like how difficult the service industry actually is and can be. I
agree. I was a bartender at a steakhouse.
Yeah.
Meet some people.
Yes, you do.
It's great stories.
Yeah, oh my gosh. But I think if you can but I understand what you're saying. It's like, I remember I worked for this media company while I was trying to also audition for commercials and also audition, for sports broadcasting opportunities on whatever, whether it was like a smash card, event on the Speed Channel. But my boss at the time, who was lovely and I adore him, he's like, you're doing too much. Like, you need to just focus on one thing and make that great. And I was like, no, I'm good.
Right.
Because I have figured out that if I land here, I'll be happy there. And if I land here, I'll be happy there. I'm not going to stay with you, media company. You're just a stopgap. But
right. You don't know that.
Yeah. But I just kind of knew that one would work out.
Yep.
But I hear what you're saying. I just disagree with you.
Yeah, that's all right. I like it. It's good. It's good.
I don't disagree with you. I just it's
There's
good
two sides
because
of
we
that.
have different perspectives on it.
I've just seen it from the financial advisor side, where early on in people's careers back in the day, we were bringing on brand new people. It's like, well, if this doesn't work, I'm going to do that. Well, it's not going to freaking work. I mean, it's a lot of work and a lot of different days and a lot of years before then it works. So then they give up way too early. And that's my point is I think people quit too soon sometimes because of plan B. That was my only point to that.
Or because it just gets, because it gets hard.
Yeah.
Or, that's a work ethic thing.
Yep. Talk about some of the best sports moments you've been a part of. You've been a part of a lot of them. So the ones that stick out the most to you.
Well, gosh, I mean, I just immediately what comes to mind is some of the stories that I've done and some of the people that I've had the privilege of sitting in front of, and what happens after those stories are presented. So in 2017, we were at ESPN granted the opportunity to spend a day with Marty Schottenheimer when he was kind of in the throes of his Alzheimer's. And his wife, who's just incredibly lovely, was with us all day as well. And I would ask Marty, in fact, I asked him about specific plays. I asked him about the drive in 1989 and against the Broncos, and he started to talk about it, and then it would immediately go back to his paper route when he was a kid. And his wife said, "Now, Marty, they're asking you about the Browns in 1989. Oh, right, that's right." And then he would kind of answer it, and then he would stop and talk about his relationship with his wife and how amazing she was. And so we were able to not make the focus of this feature about his Alzheimer's diagnosis. It was about their love story. And it was so incredibly powerful. And I remember getting a text from Brian Schottenheimer thanking me. And that's what you do it for, right? Like those. So it's not really like, I've been to plenty of Super Bowls. I've been at big games and seen incredibly prolific like sports moments, but it is like the stuff that comes after that is really the sports.
That's the impact,
right? And now we are working on this summer doing kind of a full circle piece with Brian now that he's the head coach of the Cowboys. He said something in his presser, and I think his opening remarks to that opening presser, that his dad never wanted him to be a head coach because of the pressure, the responsibility, the time away, all the things. And so I reached out to him.
Here he is, the Cowboys.
Yeah, right. So we reached out and I said, "Would you be interested?" And he said, "With you, absolutely." And that's the greatest.
It's worth it right there.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that matters. And there's probably 10 stories over my 10 years, 12 maybe, that have had such an impact on my heart and theirs. Like that's
awesome.
what it's about.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Buddy. Thank you.
Talk about the on-field interview type stuff. I mean, how many of those have you been a part of, you think?
Oh my God. Well, when I, pre-game, post-game, when I was a field reporter at NFL Network, I mean, that's really what you did. It was like going into the locker room post-game, doing the locker room scrum where you're interviewing all the players and with the local media and whatnot, and you're just trying to get one soundbite so that you can just build a package and feed it in so it can air like on late night Total Access or a Sports Center or something like that. I mean, I've done too many to count, that's for sure.
What's the craziness of that? Game's over. The locker room or even on the field. Did you do the on the field ones with you got to find the quarterback or whatever right after the game and there's 1,000 people on the field?
Yes.
Like, what's that even like?
Awesome. I love it. I love the live stuff. I mean, I tried to be a studio host for a while.
Yep.
I wasn't very good at it. I was fine at it, but I like being in the action. I like the adrenaline rush of like chasing the quarterback or the running back or whoever you've got, and it's.
And they tell you in your ear, you're going to interview this person
Right.
and go find them.
It's like, go, run, go. It's really, really cool. Yeah.
It's got to be a
and
rush.
then you've got 30 seconds and you've got like kind of a 3 and out thing if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Usually 2.
And do they tell you the questions to ask? Like, no? So you just got to come up with that on your own.
So we usually, like, how it would work is in the press box in the fourth quarter, depending on what's happening, you put together your top 3 wish list, you hand that to the PR directors, and then you build your questions around that. So you've got just kind of a few minutes to figure that out. But it's pretty...
and somehow you'll give it to them, and then they'll say, hey, you're going to get, whoever.
Right.
And they're going to meet you at the 50-yard line.
If I want Patrick Mahomes, but if he's my 1 and Travis is 2, and, it's usually because we were the network game, but we were national network, ESPN and NFL Network, but we weren't the main like we weren't Fox or CBS or NBC, so they would always get the 1. We would usually get like the 2.
Got it.
Sometimes we would.
But if it's Monday Night Football, you're getting the 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're getting.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. Lisa Salters is.
Well,
but
you know
yes.
what I mean. Yeah, but ESPN's getting the main one because they're the main person.
Mm-hmm.
They're the main person. Yeah, that's awesome. Talk about working with your husband.
Well, I mean, it's great. It's crazy because when we first got together, he was at Fox. So this was 2013, and he was at Fox, and he was doing everything at Fox.
Yeah, baseball,
he was
football.
doing baseball, football, the Thursday night games, golf, and that was.
I will say I do miss him doing the World Series.
I know.
Something about it.
No, I know. He hears that all the
24,
time.
something like that of them in a row.
Oh, you did it, yeah, 20, yeah. And he went back this year. He did the Yankees opener.
That's right.
And it was so fun for him. But every time I ask him, like, do you miss it? Do you want to go back to doing regular baseball? No. And I get it.
Right.
I mean, so when you have that schedule, like that schedule was totally fine when it was just us. But then when we had our boys, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm traveling during the season and doing my interviews for my stories, coming back, editing those, and then traveling to the game and wrapping those. So I'm gone 4 days a week, 5 days a week during the season. And he's gone, October used to be a beast. I would see him like 2 days out of the month. It was crazy. So
and it's April through October.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he got this opportunity to come over and get paid more and work less, I don't know, it sounds pretty good. Let me think about
15
that.
15 or 16 Monday nights.
Yeah. And it's been great. It's because we work together, but we don't, right?
Yeah, right.
I do the pregame show, he does the games. When I'm done, I go back to the hotel so I can hear him call the game.
Yep.
And then I meet him at the airport and we go home.
Go home.
But it's really
that's cool.
It's really cool.
Be different if you had to talk in one
Right.
of you tell each other what to do, right?
Yeah, I think that I don't know if we could do that,
Right.
quite honestly.
I read this, I don't know if it's true or not, last night doing my research on Michelle Beisner-Buck, and it said a dream would be Dancing with the Stars. Is that true?
Oh, yes, I would love to be on that show. I've always wanted to be on that
That's
show.
what I read. I read it in multiple places. I don't know why. It just kept popping up. Yeah. You ever Google your name and read about you?
Not lately.
Yeah.
It's not really something
I don't know why it came up, but it did.
That's so interesting. I would love to be on that show. But I'm a dancer.
Let's get that ankle healed. And,
That's what I'm saying. This is the perfect year for it. This is a redemption story.
It is.
And it's on ABC. I'm ESPN. What are we doing?
What are we
Come on.
doing? Why is this not done yet? This podcast is going to make it happen.
It's going to make it happen.
It's going to go
if it
viral.
does, Brett, you are front row every week until I get eliminated.
I'm in. My wife and I, and we bring our 4 kids with us and let them. We'll let the boys, your boys, my boys, all hang out.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. I had a good question. Future greater than your past. That's what this sticker stands for. Helping you achieve a future greater than your past. That's our firm's mission statement, my mission statement. When you hear that, what comes to mind for you?
Self-care and just making sure that my children have every opportunity that they can have to try new things and figure out who they are and what they want to be. I don't know. I have, Dancing with the Stars. Hello. That's like
That's a future greater than your past.
Yeah. I don't know. My past has been really good. I have a lot of great things that have happened in my past. I've had a lot of things that haven't been so great, but it's shaped me.
Yep.
I think, I don't know, maybe the best is yet to come, but I say that every day because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But if you have a positive attitude and outlook and you're like ready to take it on, then it can't be that bad.
I love it. That's why I say it doesn't mean your future or your past was bad.
No.
But everybody wants your future to continue to be better. So we'll just keep challenging ourselves to do that. Michelle Beisner-Buck, thank you so much for, one, driving all the way over here, and number two, to be on the podcast. So thank you very much.
Should have done a car service.
That would have been a good idea.
Just kidding. I like to drive.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Brett.
Thank you so much.